Finally.
All right, this is it. Welcome everyone back to our podcast discussion. Of course, ang dami natin na pag-usapan as we discuss in our episodes kagabi. Episodes kasi nakalimang episodes kami kagabi with some of our friends. This is the week of Marites. There's so much Marites going on. Whether ito yung attack ng First Lady or riposte ni First Lady with Sara Duterte. Whether this is about the whole House of Duterte, House of Marcos drama. But speaking of Marites, the big geopolitical marites right now is maraming biglang dumami yung mga estudyante dyan sa Cagayan na hindi natin alam kung talaga estudyante ba itong mga to, turista ba itong mga to. But of course, in the spirit of kindness and fairness, let's just examine this issue. Is this a marites na supposedly daw may dagsahan ng potential spies? Or this is just being racist and prejudicial? Or maybe there's a healthy way of approaching this without being prejudicial? So in order to discuss that, we have a very, very special guest. Ito po yung isa sa mga former professors ko. I think he was lucky to have me as a student. No, just kidding.
Of course.
Kasi yung iba parang ayaw nila pag-usapan si Sir Ranjit Rai, di ba, Okta? Guess ko siya, parang he was being diplomatic. Kasi alam ko medyo sabog ako estudyante back in the day. First year ko, yung nakachinelas lang, late sa class, yung mga ganun. But I think I was a better version of myself when you were my professor. Thank you very much. So we have with us Dr. Chester Cabalza. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us.
Thank you, Richard, for inviting me again in your show. No, ako naman laging nag-enjoy sa mga discussions natin. Of course, no, Richard is one of my best students. No, napakagaling yan. Saka alam nyo ba, tuwing nagre-report yan sa class, walang gusto magtanong ng mga kaklase.
Ayan na naman tayo. Ayan, maglaglagan na naman. Okay.
Alam ko. Ang tawag sa kanya dyan, halimaw.
Hegemon. Okay. Well, I mean, just to be honest, I know marami nagda-drop ng class pag alam nila ko yung, lalo nung undergrad ko. Actually, you found a nicer version of me. Pero makita niyo yung mukha ng guest natin, batang-bata pa ito. So, yun yung awkward minsan, di ba? Kung batang-bata rin prof mo. Now, the reason I wanted to reach out to you is not only to discuss the domestic politics marites later on, because you're quite a well-rounded analyst also. But last time we had a conversation, this is for my show on TV51 News,
right?
Discuss the situation of EDCA, the whole Mamba opposition sa Cagayan. And then now we're seeing all of this news na may mga developments sa Cagayan. So, Dr. Cabalza, can you give us an overview of how things have changed from last year? What's the drama in Cagayan? What's the state of affairs? Because you're from Cagayan.
Yeah.
You're a Kapsat, right? So
yes, Kapsat.
The other part of Solid North that we don't know much about. Purong Ilocos Norte kami. So, can you tell us about the other side, Cagayan? What's going on? Give us a lay of the land.
Okay, I'm from Cagayan, the land of Enrile. Of course, no. Basically, Cagayan is a province. It's the regional center of Region 2. No, as a regional center, of course, you have other strategic provinces there, including Batanes, Cagayan Province, and Isabela. No, kaya lately napag-uusapan sila. But of course, no, I must admit, no, Richard was one of the first who interviewed me about the EDCA sites, the relevance of Cagayan, and we had a thorough discussion about that. Ang ganda nung aming discussion last year.
Prof. Cabalza, can you give us an overview of what we discussed? So essentially my question was, is Governor Mamba, who's seen as the first openly pro-China governor in the Philippines, I mean, we can debate whether that's fair or not, is he a representation of the political spectrum there, or is it more diverse? So could you give us some idea about that first before we go to the latest development?
Right. During my so-called ethnography and ocular visit to the two EDCA sites in Cagayan, of course, no, tayo naman marami tayong kaibigan din dun sa Cagayan, and of course, we interviewed some locals also. And we were saying there are some municipalities who are in favor of EDCA, other towns and cities are not in favor. So ibig sabihin, divided and polarized din yung aming probinsya when it comes to the EDCA sites. So not all are in favor to what the governor is saying or doing. But at the same time, meron din medyo lumalaban or in favor dun sa EDCA sites natin doon. So
which parts? Could you give us some details?
Okay, like the Lalo Airfield, no? That's the because there are two EDCA sites in Cagayan. One is the Lalo Airfield, that's the airport. The mayor there is in favor of EDCA. Yung mayor ng Santa Ana, yun yung naval port, yun yung parang Subic namin doon. Originally sabi nila hindi in favor. But the CESA, chief right now is the daughter of Enrile. So ibig sabihin, dahil siya yung daughter ni Enrile, of course, no, she subscribes to the support of the Americans to them, to our province, basically. So, yung city namin sa Tugigaraw, yun yung capital, medyo hati rin yung mga tao doon. No? Although, of course, it's far-fetched from the EDCA sites, pero sila yung center of attraction ngayon because of the universities, no? Because the city holds reputable universities right now, and sila yung napag-uusapan, which Richard will ask questions later on about that, no? So yun yung ating situation. That's the geography and basically the composition of political landscape in my province.
I forgot to mention, of course, you are also an anthropologist. In fact, you are my
Right,
in
right.
anthropology, although, of course, we're colleagues in the more geopolitics realm. And, of course, your dissertation was on strategic culture, which where we saw, nag-flex ka ng anthropological muscle mo, which we really need. So, yes, you really do ethnographic studies. You really do that.
Yeah,
So,
I do.
yeah,
Kaya
hindi na
nagpi-field
pa-cute.
work
Yeah.
ako. Very important sa akin yung ethnographic study because of course when we do that, we do participation observation. Ibig sabihin, kailangan pumunta ka doon sa lugar, makipag-usisa ka, parte ka rin doon sa sitwasyon na yun. And of course, that's the value of ethnography. No? You get the pulse of the people, you ask questions and to local people, to your respondents, and at the same time, you feel what's the situation there on the ground, no?
Yeah, before I ask bakit ang sarap ng Delimondo na beef and all, can you tell me about the facilities? I mean, when people say EDCA facilities, kasi ang inisip ng tao facilities, nako, Camp Crame yan, or ano yun,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's Subic. Pero
Mm.
hindi, diba? I mean, what are we talking about here? Bare bones, fishing huts? Like, what's going on there?
Okay, in CESA, that's where Santa Ana EDCA site dislocation o yung Camp Oasis ata yun, no? Para siyang Subic din dahil may mga facilities na yan. And there's a community within, no? So kung ano yung nakikita nyo sa Subic, i-visualize nyo. Ganun yung itsura ng Santa Ana. No, there's a port, may communities, magandang road network, pero kulang pa. Of course, no, mas develop si Subic compared to Santa Ana. Now, we go to Lalo. Lalo is an old town. That's originally the Nueva Segovia during the Spanish period. It's an old town, and there's a 300 hectares lot there where you have an international airport, supposedly. Kompleto na yung runway niya. There's no problem about that. Maliit lang yung aerodrome facility. Yun yung pwede kang, kung saan nakaupo yung mga piloto at tinitignan nila kung may lilipad at maglalanding. More improvements, no, in that area. But yung runway niya ang haba, no, because it's an international airport. Also in Santa Ana, it's a tourist spot kasi nga may magagandang white beach doon. At the same time, meron ka ring mga kasi ang daming mga foreigners doon, no? So, ang daming magagandang hotels.
Mga AFAM, marami.
May mga apam doon. At saka may casino. So, ganun yung itsura niya. No, so may konting development na rin pero hindi siya as sparkling as Subic, no? Hindi pa ganun.
So, Dr. Gabaza, like from 1 to Subic, I mean, kasi from
Yeah.
1 to Kiboloy, from 1 to Subic, if Subic is 10 and 1 is like, just starting point, Santa Ana is like 7, 8, is that what you're saying? And then 3 or 4 yung isa? I mean, just to give people some sort of
Just
sense.
to visualize it. Tama ka, no?
Oh,
Nasa 7 or 8 yung Santa Ana. Okay yung road network, walang
right.
problema diyan. May mga infrastructures na pero it's not as grander as Subic. When it comes to yung Lalo, that's the airport, nasa between 3 or 4, ganyan pa siya.
3 and
More
4,
rooms
yeah.
to improve, no? Hindi pa siya ganun ka sophisticated.
My question right now is, ang plano ba dito is to bring it to 10? Especially Santa Ana, because we saw Gibo, I think, was in the area not long ago. And it's like hindi lang naman mga Amerikano but yung mga Pilipinas din nag-invest doon sa mga infrastructure in there. Can you give us an idea of the trajectory? So you gave us a very good snapshot. But what is the trajectory here?
Definitely, no, because part of the collaboration, no, with the Americans, kasi tama si Richard do not, this is a Philippine initiated project, no. And when we talk about the EDCA sites, these are rotational bases. So pag-aari ito ng Pilipinas, hindi ng mga Amerikano, and we invite them kung pwede silang pumunta o hindi. And part of it is of course to co-develop it with the Americans, kasi syempre gagamitin nila yung bases natin, kailangan meron din silang ambag doon, no? So the projection of course is to operationalize it just like what we have seen in of course, no, in Subic and in Clark. No, yung Clark, you see the development right now in Clark, very massive, no? It's a
Grabe.
world-class city. O baka nga plano nga ng gobyerno, baka doon ilipat yung capital ng ating government, no? Because
Putrajaya natin. Oh,
oo, yun yung
Putrajaya.
Putrajaya natin. Well, and it's really beautiful yung Clark sa ngayon, no? And for me, that's the best Air Force facility so far that I've seen around the country. Malayong-malayo pa dun yung Lalo Airport, no? So kung i-compare natin, yung Santa Ana medyo mahabol na sa Subic, but still more room to improve, no? So hopefully, of course, no, with the project with the Americans, yun yung balak, no, to operationalize it because of its proximity to Batanes, no? When we go to Batanes, actually kahit region to si Batanes, hindi mo kayang magbarko going Cagayan to Batanes kasi very difficult yung navigation doon. The only way
Malakas
na
yung ahon
tatandaan
ng
ko,
tubig, ganun ba yun?
ay ang lakas. Ang
Malakas.
lakas ng splash
Yeah,
noon.
yeah, yeah.
So the
Parang
only way.
Scotland ang dating, di ba? Parang yung North Sea, parang ganun.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
sobrang
yeah.
lakas ng ano niya, especially during monsoon season, no. I would remember whenever we got to, there are two ways of going to Batanes kasi eh. One is via Manila and the second one is via Tuguegarao doon sa aking syudad, no. Nakakatuwa nung unang punta ko sa Batanes, alam mo yung sasakyan naming eroplano, yung maliit lang, I forgot the name of that plane, no, yung pang Indiana Jones. Tapos tinitimbang kami, pati nga yung mga bag at saka yung supplies namin kailangan.
Limited lang kaya niya.
Oo, limited lang yung capacity. Tapos ang nakakatuwa doon, we have to rely to the sun. Kasi kailangan summerish talaga. Kasi once mag-fly siya tapos hindi mo makita yung ano, yung sky, tendency pwedeng
Fear
bumagsak
factor
yung
pala to
ano.
eh.
Oo, gano'n, gano'n parang anthropologist kapag pumunta ka talaga doon, no? Gano'n ang ano, situation when you go to Basco. But when you go there, my God, ang ganda-ganda ng Batanes. Of course, you're in a different,
Oh, napintas
parang
met.
nasa ano, nasa Ireland.
Yeah, kaya
Parang
nga may Scotland, Ireland,
or
Scotland.
Scotland,
Yeah,
Ireland. Ganyan
exactly.
ang
Yeah.
ano, ganda ng Batanes, no? It's
Yung
very
stone
beautiful.
houses,
Yeah, and it's a
headlands.
UNESCO. It's a
Yeah,
UNESCO
exactly.
site
Yeah.
basically. And the Itbaya and the Ivatan, ito yung mga IPs doon, no, are really one of the kindest people and
Yeah,
honest, no,
solid,
because
solid.
there's an honesty store doon, no. Hindi ka walang nagbabantay tapos bahala ka magbayad na lang.
Yeah, grabe no. It's really something. Kaya nga may pagka Scotland, Ireland feel doon.
Right, right.
Okay. Just tell me what you're comfortable. What is the Marites we know here? Ano ba talagang balak ng mga Amerikano? Because I was in Washington DC the other month. I'm going around.
Mm.
Some are saying that baka ang plano ng mga Americans to eventually bring in, I don't know, HIMARS and high caliber weapon systems or even advanced fighter jets. What is the Marites in town right now in Cagayan? Before we discuss also a little bit about Batanes, kasi there was a plan for Pentagon to build yung isang port facility doon, di ba? Kasi
Yeah,
medyo
yeah, doon sa Mavulis
yeah,
Island.
exactly. Can you tell us a little bit about what's the state of Marites on that issue?
Well, basically in Cagayan, very quiet lately on the EDCA sites. I think the last year was the big Marites, no, about the EDCA sites. Ngayon very quiet sila kasi alam ko yung balikatan, it will not happen in Cagayan, but I think it's going to be in Ilocos Norte. And then of course going to Ilocos Norte in Batanes. And of course in the West Philippine Sea, parang ganun yung ruta ata nila. Hindi ata masyado on Cagayan, no? I think they did it last year in Cagayan, kaya mas mainit siya. What's the calculation, no, in terms of its future projection, no? Well, of course, no, they have to uh, use it for forward base kasi nga volatile din yung situation in Taiwan. Of course, hindi natin sinasabi the reason why we are putting up those EDCA sites because of the Taiwan conundrum. It could be possible. no? Pero of course, no, ang punto rin natin dito is for a multi-role situation, because of course, no, these provinces, particularly in Region 2, in Cagayan Valley, talagang talamak yung natural calamities, no? When you go to up to Batanes, kita
Sa
mo
HADR talaga, it's important.
yung
Yeah,
HADR, yeah, yung
Humanitarian
tsunami and
assistance and disaster relief, just for people who are not familiar with the jargon. Yeah.
more on disaster relief talaga yung ginagawa na doon, no. Well, of course yung the military, actually yun nga yung kine-question ni ano ng aming governor na ano kailangan diyan? Bakit kailangan ano yan ilagyan ng defense corridor, no? When in fact mas kailangan dito yung economic activities. So I guess kung titingnan natin, um yung ginawa na siguro maganda kung ang cards na nilay down ni US is economic and military or defense. Mas maganda siguro yun. Yung kabila naman ang kanilang inoffer is economic, no, which is very crucial, no, economic over military, no, ang kanilang slogan so far, no.
Okay. Which I think is a perfect segue kung talagang economic lang yung in-offer ng kabila. But I think you raise a very good point. Uh, uh, should there be a kind of a solid North corridor also? Because the trilateral that just ended came up with the Luzon. I'm sorry. Essentially
Yeah,
the
Luzon
Luzon
Economic Corridor. The
Subic
Luzon Economic
Yeah,
Corridor, ang problem with the Luzon Economic Corridor is in Central Luzon, going down to
exactly.
Manila
Should there be a
and to
solid North
Bicol.
version? Yeah.
Hindi siya up north, no? Ang nangyari dun sa Luzon Economic Corridor is from Subic to Clark, Clark to Manila, Manila to Bicol. I think that is an existing project kasi. I was a consultant of JICA
Yung
for the
North-South.
railway. Yung railway. Kami talaga yung gumawa ng mga feasibility studies diyan because they needed me as an anthropologist kasi maraming mga IPs in Central Luzon, yung mga AITA. Uh, those are existing, no? At saka syempre yung Subic and Clark, those are former American bases. So that's how significant it is. And then it is now developed by the Japanese because of the railway network, no, which was abandoned by the Chinese. So yun yung real score doon sa nangyari na yun. And that's what they wanted to point out, that we are here to support the economic activities, pero ang nangyari doon lang sa Central Luzon. So problematic pa rin yung up north mo. So we'll see what happens given all these
Right.
marites about the Chinese students. Tingnan natin kung anong pwedeng mangyari pa doon.
Before going to that, I mean,
Mm.
again, this is what I like about our conversation, because before going to the latest marites, we have to know the context, what's going on, what's the relevance, what's at stake, diba? I'm just thinking, again, I bias ako siguro, but Baguio could be like the core, right? You have a
Right.
Subic corridor going to Baguio, then from Baguio to Cagayan and all, right? That could be kind of an integrated economic corridor of
But
development.
there's another thing because I was in Tabuk during the whole week. In
Mhm.
Tabuk, in Kalinga, they have 6 lanes there, no? Ang lalaki ng mga lupa because Tabuk city in Kalinga is vying to become the capital of Cordillera Autonomous Region. They would
Right,
want to follow the BARM. And of
right,
course, si Baguio kasi yung sa inyo is parang Angeles City yan that's a special
right,
city.
right,
Ang
right.
capital ni Car is Isla Trinidad, that's in
Hindi na
Benguet.
Benguet, Baguio.
Oo. Pero punong-puno na kasi sa Benguet sa La Trinidad, kaya si Tabuk is vying for that position. And Tabuk is very close to Tuguegarao.
So you can have the Tuguegarao Tabuk and then Baguio, then connecting it to the Clark. So you can have
Yeah.
kind of a mega Luzon corridor, di ba? From
Sana
Central
ganun nga,
Luzon to
no?
call it North.
Ang ganda.
Yeah,
Tapos may railway ka o subway or ano. I think ang another project ng Japan is yung the one in Nueva Vizcaya. It's going to be the largest tunnel in the Philippines. It's a 10-kilometer tunnel. I was one of those who did the feasibility study of that. Kasi yung when you go down to Cagayan, yung isa lang yung kalsada going up to Vizcaya then down to Cagayan. That's through I mean the road going there in I forget the name of that road, no. Uh Tuwing nagkakaroon ng natural disaster, nagkakaroon ng tawag dito, problem, no. Wala nang
right.
madaanan yung mga tao. The only way is via
Of
via
emergency or
via
something. Oh,
Ilocos. no,
Right,
kapag
right.
via Ilocos. Kaya yung gagawin nilang tunnel from Ecija to Vizcaya, that's going to be a big project also. I think it was approved already, no?
Right.
Mm.
Professor Cabal, kailan ka babalik sa Manila? I think we have to have another one dun sa studio, but we need to have a map. Kasi dun sa
I'll be
studio ko
there back by next
oh,
week.
yeah, kasi
Uh,
yung studio namin, meron kaming TV ngayon, ang laki-laki, buong wall eh.
wow, that's
Maganda
good,
sana, yeah.
amazing.
Lumipat kami sa, yun yung where they do like FIBA World Cup analysis. Yun ang
Wow,
binibigay sa.
panalo.
So, medyo, we can do like map para makita talaga ng tao itong
Yeah,
Luzon
yeah.
corridor. Ganun. So,
Wow.
thank you so much for this. Again, before we go to itong meat of the discussion, speaking of the meat of the discussion, bakit ang sarap ng
Appetizer
binili mo?
pala ito, no?
Bakit yung corned beef nila
Ah,
Enrita ang sarap compared sa ibang corned beef?
siguro yung, alam mo yung corned beef na yung galing ng Batanes. Did you know that
Kaya,
when I was
kaya
in
pala,
Batanes,
lasang
ang
afam
mura, kasi ang ano yung grass sa Batanes, nako, ang
ng Scotland.
linis-linis. Oo, parang Scotland. Tapos yung mga baka kalabaw doon, yung baka, no, nasa hills. And they can balance their body, di sila nahuhulog doon sa hills. Ang galing-galing ng mga baka doon sa Batanes. Totoo na, maybe doon galing. I don't know how they process it. Pero ang sarap nung ano, no.
Now it makes sense. May pagka New Zealand feels pala. May mga audience sa sabi nila yung Nueva Vizcaya, Nueva Ecija, Dalton Pass daw
Yeah,
yun.
that's Dalton
Yeah,
Pass. Very
Dalton
good.
Pass. Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
That I'm telling you, like ibang klase mga ano natin
Oo
dito.
nga, no? Well updated
Technical ang
yung mga
mga tao
viewers
dito.
mo.
Exactly. I'm telling you, medyo next level. Kaya I wanted to be, kaya nga they said, di ba, amateur stock strategy, expert stock logistics, di ba? So I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah,
go
yeah, yeah.
down into the logistics issue and all of that. So I really appreciate this. Now, let's go to the meat of discussion since pinag-usapan natin yung corned beef nyo dyan sa North. We're not saying this because Solid North ka, pero ang sarap talaga ng Delimonda. I mean, this
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
akala ko imported eh. Yung pala talagang,
Oh,
sabi ko,
that's
afam to
locally
eh.
made.
Pang-afam ang lasa. Sarap, sarap. Sabi ko, sarap. Parang New Zealand galing. Yung pala, galing sa New Zealand natin, sa Batanes. By the way, what happened dun sa Batanes Pentagon Project? Na parang
Yeah,
na-cancel bigla. Port
kasi
facility na gagawin nila. What's the whole port business?
for me, no, kasi nakita ko yung Batanes, the real intent actually is for yung HADR. Kasi kawawa rin yung mga taga Batanes. Really, when you go there, ang lakas talaga ng alon. You need
Ma-isolate talaga
floods.
sila.
Isolated yung island, yung archipelagic Batanes eh. They're really isolated and only I don't know how many islands or islets you have there. Pero tatlo lang yung habitable islands mo doon. No? Even Mavulus, no? Walang masyadong tao doon. Yun yung farthest islet natin
Lapit
na
sa
malapit na sa
Taiwan yan.
Taiwan. O yung
Oo.
tilaok na sa Taiwan, naririnig mo na eh.
I mean, even in Pagudpud, di ba? You can hear
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. Oh,
radyo,
tanaw
di ba?
mo na si ano doon eh. Tanaw mo na si
Exactly.
Taiwan doon eh. Oo.
Exactly. Doon kami nakikinig ng speech ni Tsai Ing-wen. Anyway, so what's going on there? What ano to daw itong mga influx ng mga Chinese students? Because what I remember, the first writings I had about Cagayan were itong special economic zones, itong offer ng mga Chinese to create, I don't know, tourist kind of the complexes and all of that, and that's where suddenly things became very national security oriented. With Philippine Navy coming out, some people raising concerns kung may dual purpose din ang mga investments ng China. Now we're in a situation where people are discussing all of itong dagsaan ng mga Chinese students in those area. Can you tell us about like what is the educational system there? Are there big universities there? How big is this foreign Chinese presence?
Okay, I have to put into context, no, because for the past 3 days, I have family and relatives in Tuguegarao, and we were harassed because of the political situation there, because of my revelations, no.
Oh shoot! Okay, I'm
Maraming
sorry to hear that.
No,
Okay,
no,
oh
no, no, it's
wow,
okay.
that's crazy,
I
man.
just want to put into context, no, para
Please go ahead.
lalong maintindihan ng mga viewers natin, no. It's good that we have this kind of conversation to clear things up. I was in the hot seat 3 nights ago in my town, and politicians were talking about me. They've been calling my family to know what's the real score and blah 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 blah. Okay, let's put into. I'd like to see the waves of migration of the Chinese in Cagayan first. No? Originally, we have Ateneo de Tuguegarao. We have
Ateneo pala
Ateneo
doon.
de.
Oh
Meron
wow!
Ateneo de
I'm sorry, I didn't
Tuguegarao.
know that. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I feel so
We have
ignorant. Okay,
Ateneo
wow.
de Tuguegarao. We have the Jesuits there originally.
Oh
And
wow.
then one of the reasons for the Jesuits why they came to Cagayan, because they wanted to penetrate China. for their conversion basically. So until such a time Ateneo de Tuguegarao didn't push through. So the Belgians came, CICM, St. Louis.
St. Louis,
So
yes, for my
St. Louis.
family and mom and everyone comes.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
There is also a French congregation right now. That's the St. Paul University. That's the mother university of all St. Paul.
Even the one here in
Colleges and
QC.
universities. The one in
Yeah.
Cagayan, in Tuguegarao. It's very reputable. These are all top-notch universities. We have 4 universities there. St. Paul University, Philippines, University of St. Louis Tuguegarao, and then you have Cagayan State University, where Father Rani is used to be the head of that. And then, of course, the University of Cagayan Valley, where they produce top-notch lawyers, criminologists, and marine engineers. No, magagaling itong mga eskwelahan nito. And then, aside from that, there are many more colleges. So it's a university town. So I came from a
Parang
university
Baguio, di
town.
ba? Parang Baguio.
Parang
Ang
Baguio,
dami rin
basically.
namin mga
Parang
AFAM and
Baguio.
foreign students and all throughout the years. Yeah.
Right. So in other words, and also the local leaders there are Filipino Chinese. No, they intermarried with the locals. They know all the languages there. They are Filipinos basically. They're part of
So
the
parang
system.
vegan ito, di ba? Kasi like my lola from vegan, may Chinese blood mga yan. Obvious sa
Hmm.
itsura niya.
Yes,
So if
yes.
vegan is on this side, ito yung the other side na parang entrepot, parang mini
Kaya
sing.
nangyari yon,
Okay.
maraming Chinese sa vegan. Originally, di ba, they came from Lalo. That's Nueva Segovia. So when the Spaniards decided to relocate the capital from Nueva Segovia in Lalo to Vigan. So doon nagpuntahan yung mga Chinese. Yung iba nagpuntahan sa Tuguegarao. So ganun yung ano. And then the next wave of migration, because of course no, we know what happened during the war in Taiwan, because of the civil war between the nationalists and the communists. Yung iba
Tumakas yung iba
nagpuntahan,
dito.
nagpunta sila
Oo,
sa
exactly.
Tuguegarao, sa Cagayan basically. Kaya marami kaming Filipino-Chinese doon. Okay,
Yes.
tapos naging negosyante sila, naging politiko sila doon. So that's the context. So and then of course no, dahil marami kaming reputable universities doon, we have other I remember in my elementary high school, kasi doon ako nag-aral after I went to UP in college, no. Marami na rin mga foreign students doon, no. Usually karamihan na nagpupuntahan doon uh, mga Amerikano noon. Pero and European. Konti-konti lang 'yan. Pero nung nag-aral na ako sa UP, tapos dito na ako, and then I saw na medyo nag-boom mga Indians na, because they study medicine in Cagayan kasi
So
mas
parang
mura.
Baguio talaga.
Parang Baguio talaga. And then
How large is the
Koreans
population? How large is the population there?
in Tuguegarao, I do not exactly know now, pero parang nasa ano lang kami nasa feeling ko nasa uh,
60,000, 100,000, more.
siguro nasa 100,000 kasi it's
100,000. So
a
similar to
melting pot
Baguio.
kasi yung Tuguegarao
Yeah,
melting
exactly.
pot.
No, the reason I'm asking numbers is because as we discussed the number of Chinese students, that could give you a scale, right?
Yeah, I
If it's a
agree.
town of 100 people and then there's 2,000 Chinese students, then you're gonna say, but if it's a town of 100,000 people and there's like 100 or 200, you get what I'm saying? I'm just trying to put things
Yeah,
together. Kasi the scale
yung
is
ratio
important.
kumbaga no,
Oh,
parang makita
ratio is
natin
very
yung
important
ratio.
before we go into
Yeah.
conspiracy
Oo.
theories. Yes.
And
So
then
now, what's this Chinese story? Chinese student
okay,
story?
so last year uh I just saw over the news, no? Si Bureau of Immigration naglabas ng figures. There are 1,500 Chinese students. They said 15 students who went to Cagayan last year. That was the figure that they brought out. Some of them were students, sabi nila. One politician said that in one university, in St. Paul University, that's a reputable university, sabi nila may 4,000 plus. Pero sabi ng mayor, no, that's not 4,000 kasi may local politics, away-away din sila dun, no? Hindi 4,000 plus yun, 400 lang. So yung sinasabing figures is
10 times more yung figure na
parang nadagdagan.
Laki
So
nun, laki.
pero itong caveat, siyempre, I'm a local, may kwento-kwento na, oh, we see it, there are Chinese students here, they're paying like this, blah, 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 blah. And then, siyempre, defense analyst din ako, I heard from intelligence report, oh, teka, parang nag-jive lahat yung mga kwento sa baba at sa mga report na ito. So that's how it came up, no? Ayaw ko sabihin yung mga names where I got it, pero ganun na lang nating ipunto. let's not discuss the figures on the money, no? Pag-usapan na lang natin yung influx, no?
Yeah.
We saw actually people are quiet. Some locals are quiet about it, but um, the AFP is worried about it. I have to admit, because of the influx of these Chinese students. I got an information lately also that Teka, it's good that you brought that up already. We have also the same feeling and problem in Subic. Ang daming nagsasabi ng ganyan. So let's not it just so happened the epicenter right now is in Cagayan, but it's happening everywhere in key strategic locations. How come that we have influx of Chinese students in these strategic locations? Like say, for example, Cagayan, because it has two EDCA sites, and also in Subic because it faces West Philippine Sea. So, ganun ngayon yung situation. And sabi ng mga senator, there should be a complaint. And syempre, sa akin nanggaling yung source, Chester Gabalsa should file a complaint. Nag-iisip ko ngayon, teka, file a complaint, what about my family? So that's the dilemma that I'm currently in right now, no? I may be the source, but wait, take a minute. Kawawa naman yung pamilya ko, no? Because they are being harassed. Two of my brothers are working for the local government. So, hey, pag-isipan natin muna ito. No? Before going into that, because of course, no, I'll be having a meeting with with Ched by next week. We'll see what happens there in the negotiation of how things will work if we pursue for the filing of the case, or if I don't know kung ano pa pwede
What do you mean complain? I mean, like investigate what's going on? Like
because this is the process for the Senate or the House to investigate the situation. There must be a complainant.
tapos in aid of legislation or something like that.
Something like that. Now there must be a complainant to proceed with the due process, kumbaga. So I don't know what will happen if I'm gonna talk to them later on.
Okay, that's why hopefully we'll have you next week or something in Manila to have an update on this, and please take care of yourself. I didn't know it was that crazy. I mean, obviously there's always risk in what we do. I understand it.
Yeah.
It's just that I didn't know it got so hot right now. I mean,
It is. And of course, it's really baffling, confusing. The
yeah,
council is so hot.
yeah.
And you think about it twice because okay lang ko ako eh. I mean, I've been doing this for 14 years already, no? Being a public commentator. But first time in my life where family members are involved now, no?
Yeah, of course.
Uh,
Yes, I completely understand. I mean, for me kasi, like everything you're saying is what was our concern with Pogos in Manila. And it's not, I mean,
yeah.
it's not like walang investigation about Pogos and all. I don't know what the hell did they do really about it. Biglang naging quiet yung issue, biglang bumabalik yung issue. So, why not yung mga nasa Manila, i-connect din nila yung Pogo issue dito sa influx, the other issue. And at the same time, kasi we need a hearing that helps us to avoid racism and anti-China, prejudice. Kasi ako, very sensitive ako sa mga ganyan. I mean, we Filipinos
Yeah.
we should be open society.
We have to be open.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
lalo
open
na
society.
biracial naman
Exactly.
ikaw. Tapos
Yeah,
these
all of us.
Filipino Chinese are also biracial,
They're
no?
our brothers. Yeah, I mean,
Everyone.
Rizal was Chinoy too in a way. So I want to be careful about. At the same time, ayoko mukhang as Cynthia Villar, our great senator, very eloquently put it, boba ba tayo? Di ba? I mean, at the same time, we have to be, di ba? Boba ba tayo? Kailangan din natin, to see what's going on here. Kasi you're saying 1,000, I'm sorry, how many students? 400.
400 daw ang latest na lumalabas, no?
Okay, so that's not much, but was it like 0 and then suddenly 400, or was it like 50 then 400?
The 400 is ang kwento is in one university only. Kaya
But
medyo
what's the
ano eh.
trajectory? Did it go like from 0 last year to suddenly 1,000, or did it go from few hundred to 1,000? Like, kasi doon mo rin makita kung something is going
bakit
on.
yung surge, no? Bakit
Yung
yung
surge,
surge?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, some were saying because they have a joint memorandum, pwede naman yun, walang problema.
Exactly.
Or
Legitimate naman
baka
yun.
part
Oo.
ito ng sister city, pwede naman yun, di ba?
Right, right.
Pero what is dubious here is of course, no, we are analysts.
Of course.
I'm also from the defense and security sector, no. When we see things like that, those are red flags for us, no. Kaya nagiging how would I say it? Nagiging natataranta kami. It just so happened that I'm from this sector, tapos taga doon pa ako, and then when I spill the beans, syempre galit ako. I'm the most hated person right now in my province because of quote unquote I'm the whistleblower. Syempre, um where do I put myself now? Parang ganun, no?
Yeah.
Because I'm part of the defense and security sector, but at the same time, I'm also a native of that land, no? So, and revealing all this situation, and pangatlo, there's an ongoing geopolitical tension. You see the complexity of everything here, no? It's really mind-boggling. It's really taranta for everyone. And you become anxious also because of your safety, of your security basically, no? Okay lang yung national security, kaya natin i-explain lahat yan eh. Pero
Yeah.
when members of your family are in danger also, you become so praning na, no?
Yeah.
Why? How? Parang ganon.
But 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 my problem is, why should it be you alone to take up the cudgels? I mean, aren't there other people from other areas of the country, from Manila, who can be involved? I mean, you have a lot of linkages in the academic sector.
Agree.
Yeah,
That
but
is
why should it
something.
be only on you? I mean, this is crazy. Even if you're the only leading analyst from that area. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. No, there must be other alternative on how to open up the Pandora's box, no? Kasi nakita mo naman yung complexity ko, and I was unbiased in my analysis, given that I'm from that province, no? It just so happened that you have to also to deal with local politics, and secondly, you have to deal with the geopolitical situation, no? And thirdly, you have also to deal with your credibility. Kasi syempre, people will attack you. No? Kasi left and right, they are watching you. Marami silang sasabihin. But our role as professor is to profess our research. Kaya nga professor tayo, di ba? We profess our truth. What is objectively written based from our research. At yun ang lumalabas sa research ko. No? So, that is something that they should have to
We'll talk
understand.
about, okay, can we clarify the nature? You're being threatened for exposing potential wrongdoing, or you're being threatened? I mean, what is the basis for threatening you? Are they saying you're exposing something wrong, or is it because they just don't want you to marites, or what? I mean, are you being accused of being provocateur or something, or are some
It
interests
is,
really
no?
involved
Some
here?
were saying that, of course, no, when the media pick it up and then it became a viral discussion. Who's your source? Saan galing yan? Blah 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 blah. Okay, and of course, no. One is of course, uh, my family is also relatives are also in Cagayan, no, and you know the dynamics of local politics also there. Some are using the agenda, the issue for their political agenda, because of course
Yeah,
next year is also the midterm elections. Others, because some of my brothers are employed in the city government, um,
I see. I see. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
see the pressure also
Dami
there.
mga
How come that this
intersecting.
person,
Oh,
your brother, is saying something that might harm the city and some of the reputable universities here? So you
I
see the
see.
dilemma that we are in
I
right
see.
now.
I see. I see. Of course. Of course. Yeah. This is. Yun nga. So what is the ideal situation here? A legit, proper Senate hearing that is not, that's not carnivalesque and doesn't go crazy and off the script, right? I mean, this is what we want. Just a legitimate, proper look into this, just to make sure national security is taken care of. Is this the ideal situation you're looking at?
Yeah, for me, no, my suggestion is that they have to invite representatives from the Bureau of Immigration, from CHED, to, of course, to, because these are higher educational institutions. Also, document representatives from DFA, because of course these are foreign nationals. At the same time, local government representative also, and they have to gather more stories from the locals also. No, para kang nagtitesis din na, oh, totoo ba ito, ganyan, ganyan, no? So we can verify it and kasi kung isa lang yung sa magsasabi, assuming of course, what if I have decided to speak up and continue with this saga, no? Definitely,
You mean Senate
maraming attack.
hearings? You mean going to Senate hearings?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Will they give me protection, witness protection program? What about my family? My brothers who are employed in the ano, syempre may mga ano rin yan, no? May mga economic needs din sila yan, no? They are employed, no? They have to work and so on, no? So look at those scenario, no?
Yeah,
And of
it
course,
shouldn't be on you. I think you should be just one of the sources, but I think there are other people
yeah.
that also step up. Whether people from military background, whether people are regional experts, ECHED, etc. Yun na ayoko sa Pilipinas sa parating they put everything on one person. You know, we're not here to be martyrs, right? We're here to help the country, but everyone has to pitch in one way or another. So thank you very much, Dr. Cabalza, for actually also reminding people, especially the media, to be careful also when they you know, to my fellow colleagues in media, ingatin kayo. I mean, I know you want to make good news and all of that, but make sure we shouldn't endanger our sources and friends. Although, of course, this unintentionally, we just have to be careful about that. So I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm optimistic that hopefully we will navigate through this because itong issue ng Cagayan has been there in the news cycle for quite some time. So it's not like ikaw lang nagsalita, biglang may focus sa kanila. This has been going for some time. And my sense is what's happening right now is just a tip of the iceberg in the sense that there's growing scrutiny of China's presence in a way that there was none during Duterte time. So medyo nagka-catch up tayo. Siguro nag-overswing na tayo ng konti. Let me ask you last point dito sa interview natin. I hope we'll have another interview soon.
Yeah, of course, of course.
And please take care of yourself, Kapsat.
Ben.
Are you concerned that the Philippines could also be kind of a front line of superpower rivalry, kind of like a Berlin of the 21st century Austria? Because obviously American influence is a given in the Philippines, and we can have a long conversation about how dependent the Philippines is to be a colony of US still. We can have a conversation like that, but I think it's a fact that, you know, US is not the only superpower that has competition here. You have no less than the former president of this country essentially lawyering for China. You have the vice president of this country never saying anything critical of China, no matter what's happening in the West Philippine Seas. You have, you know, one of their siblings or whatever coming on and saying, don't demonize China. And that's just from the South. And now we're seeing a governor from the North also coming. Are you seeing, you know, the Duterte Marcos spat evolving into something, or rather reflecting something much bigger in terms of superpower rivalry?
Some were saying that there are they represent the two superpowers right now, given that of course they are leaning towards these two different countries inter national security agenda basically. But we have to note also that even before we have foreseen that it could be possible that our country, especially those in the northern part of the Philippines, can become the battleground for any eventuality. That's the reason why we are doing simulation. That's the reason why you have balikatan exercises to simulate, rehearse future scenarios. And that's the reason why you have this strategic foresight. Okay, let's look into the strategic foresights first. What if war happens? And definitely China wins. And the scenario is definitely if China wins, there could be a possibility that BBM steps down, then Sara becomes immediately the next president. That's one scenario. And second is, of course, you will see are we going to continue with our alliance with the Americans if that's that's the case? Because one of the continuing discussion is there must be war so that we know which superpower will become the leader of this region, because right now that's the reason why there's strategic competition, because they're trying to flex their muscles. And I would remember I used to invite F. Lose in my classes at the National Defense College. And in his teenage years, he used to interview the first Philippine president, si Aguinaldo. And ito very classic ito, kaya lagi kong kinikwento. And he asked Aguinaldo, "Did you kill Bonifacio?" So that was a question. So sabi daw ni Aguinaldo, "Yes." So, ay, hindi niya sinabi pala, yes. Ang sasagot daw niya, well, in your republic, you cannot have two presidents. No? So, alam niyo yung sagot
Raison
doon.
d'etat. I mean, this is a matter of state interest, right? You have to have
Yeah,
order.
it's the same
Ganon,
thing
oh.
as what is happening now because there's a strategic competition right now, and you cannot have two leaders in one region. So you have to choose one. And they have to compete for that position. So meaning to say that by hook or by crook, these two superpowers should have to determine, no, which one of them is the most powerful.
So hindi tayo pwede mag-wishy-washy. I mean, we
No,
have
no,
to,
no.
you have to be clear about where we stand on things, right?
And
Yeah.
assuming war happens or that shooting war happens, our giant neighbor will be godless and merciless to us
Yeah. And
because we have laid down our cards right now.
but when you say war, I mean, is this also over Taiwan potentially? Because
Yeah.
because you're
There's
so
a
close to
reason.
Taiwan.
Of course,
Yeah.
no. There's a potential for that. The first country that, if assuming there is war, the first country that China will attack will not be Taiwan or the Philippines, but it's going to be Japan. Japan, because in that string of pearls, Japan is the strongest among us three,
Yeah. Should they have to
and
take
because
out
of
the ace? Yeah.
yes, you have to take out the ace first and the strongest, and because of their historical atrocities also to Chinese.
There's bad blood there. Do you think
Yeah.
the Philippines should actively be part of deterring an invasion of Taiwan? I mean, in terms of helping Americans
Okay,
and
very good
Japanese?
question. I'll be honest here.
Yeah.
Which country originally concocted the 11 dash line? It was Taiwan. That was a Kuomintang
Kuomintang, yeah. Who
that was a
colonized
Kuomintang
Taiwan?
drawing, no? That was a Kuomintang drawing. And Taiwan owes an explanation to the world why they have that 11 dash line. And they have not even recognized our Hague ruling. And at the same time, they wanted help and support from us. I've listened to some Taiwanese scholars. They were saying that, so you choose. You want us to continue to become a democratic nation, or you want us to stoop down and say sorry because of what we did in the past?
Hmm. I
So,
mean, because the question here, I mean, I completely understand. I asked both President Tsai Ing-wen and Ma Ying-jeou about it, and
anong sabi nila?
none of them gave me a reassuring
Oh,
answer.
see?
Worse
See?
si Ma Ying-jeou. I mean, at least si Tsai Ing-wen
Ganun
mentioned.
din sa atin, strategic ambiguity rin tayo.
Yeah,
Wala tayong
exactly. And
ganun.
because, because they didn't want the ruling on the Ito Aba, which we essentially said it's a fake island. It's not a real island. The reason I'm asking is this because we have people like Admiral Ong, for instance, on my
Yeah.
show, and who openly said, actually, the nightmare here is China occupying Taiwan because you don't have just a small island in the West Philippine Sea occupied by them. Now you have a giant island next to Batanes and Cagayan and Ilocos region. And that's why we cannot afford not helping deterrence of China. Because if you're China, you're looking at Russia and Ukraine, you're looking at what's happening in the Middle East. But it's not like it's completely encouraging because invasion of Taiwan will be even far more difficult than what the Russians are trying to do in Ukraine.
Right. But China has been I mean, Taiwan has been exercising for their deterrence. No, they keep on doing that every year. Unlike in Cagayan or in those coastal areas in northern Philippines, we don't do that. We only do that during Balikatan exercise recently. No, so mas prepared si Taiwan over people in Cagayan, Ilocos, and Batanes, basically.
So we should be more prepared. So you're okay
We
with
have
more
to. That's the
exercises
reason
in our
why I think
areas?
in these Balikatan exercises,
Yes,
no,
there's a near Taiwan part.
yeah,
Yes.
with
Norte, I think.
40 nations observing the Balikatan, it's the first time that this thing will happen. And I think DND will also rehearse its comprehensive archipelagic defense. I-plug ko lang, bro, I have a new book. I
Please,
have
please
just
go ahead.
finished writing a new book on Philippine territorial defense. No, I think it's the first time that we are drawing into that kind of debate. No, but nonetheless, no, ang sinasabi natin dito, it's the first time that the Philippines will flex its muscles when it comes to territorial defense. Kasi nga, for the past 5 decades, we've been focused on internal defense. This is the first time that we are
Right.
trying to experiment on external defense, no, on territorial defense.
And
No?
comprehensive archipelagic defense.
Yes,
Hindi lang
yes,
West
yes.
Philippine Sea, hindi lang but the full range of it. I think we'll have to have more conversation on that. But the last thing, let's end on this episode. I want to make sure you're safe and strong. I mean,
Yeah, we're safe here and
you're
strong,
good. You're
and
good. You're safe
yeah,
in
yeah, we're good.
Aluninsol.
We're good. Yeah.
You're safe in Aluninsol. Last question. Last very serious question.
Ah.
What is your read of First Lady recent Katoning interview and saying Sarah has crossed the line? Is it so New York versus so Davao? What's going on there? Basa mo doon.
Ganun.
Ito yung
Sana
pinakamarites
magbati
ngayon.
na sila for the sake of our country. I mean, no, these are two powerful ladies. I mean, they are well-respected leaders, no, women leaders in our country. No, we're talking about the first lady here. No, with all due respect, no, we have to go to uh, Siyempre, asawa ng presidente natin yun, no? Sila ngayon yung makapangyarihan. And of course, no, we have also to consider that Sara Duterte is also is a fine lady waiting for the next line, no? She could be our next president, no? Kaya sana magbati na kayo, huwag na away-away po.
Let's support Marcos Jr. Ganun. I mean,
Oo, parang gano'n. I
para
mean,
sa bayan.
para sa bayan. I mean, pero of course, wearing our analyst hat now, no? Definitely, no, we saw the 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 evolution of the relationship, no? Nakita natin yung very close sila during the campaign season. Naturally, ganyan naman ang ano ang Filipino politics, no? You go up and then dive down and then magbabati
No, I
ulit.
don't agree with you, Kabaso. You
Ganun
never had
ba?
an ex-president saying bangag yung president ngayon and calling for it. This has never happened. Let's be honest. Okay, I completely disagree with you. This
Pero
is
alam
not a
mo,
normal ebb and flow.
Alam mo, Richard, tingnan natin itong 2025 midterm elections. I think that's gonna be a game-changing election because we might be seeing the return of President Duterte
As senator.
as senator.
Yeah.
Pag nakuha niya yung senator, definitely he can even
You can go
become
for Senate president.
the Senate President. No?
Yeah.
So game-changing talaga yung mangyayari na yun. No?
Things
So,
are crazy. Yeah.
but kaya nga, we'll see. Hopefully, they survive this quarrel, this dilemma.
Nag-comment yung iba sa amin, parang ang sagot mo daw, parang no comment lang eh.
Pwede rin,
No
pwede
comment
rin.
para sa bayan. No?
Para sa
I mean,
bayan.
I want to ask you also about the other fine lady, I mean Marcos, but you're still in the Ilocos region. Once you're
Quiet muna.
Manila, let's talk about Amy, dynamic first lady. Kasi maraming aspect itong ano na to eh. Salamat, Kapsat. Please take care of yourself. My prayers with you and your loved ones. And thank you for serving the nation. But hindi kailangan magpakamartir. Let's make everyone do their contribution. And I hope the media also makes sure that when they're interviewing their guests, hindi nila pahamak masyado. Yan ang problema pag sumisikat masyado. Mahirap talaga. Ganyan talaga. Mahirap maging pogi, sabi nga nila. Thank you so much, Dr.
Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, the Dr. Chester Cabalza, again for that very comprehensive and timely discussion. We always talk about big picture. We also talk about US, but our region, the solid North, is really at the forefront. We're like East Berlin, right? We're like East Germany or something like that, right? So this is a really intense situation. So hopefully we'll have more of this discussion with you, and I'm sure by next week more pa yung Marites about
Yeah. Of course.
Mga fine ladies. Dami nag-react sa fine lady mo eh. No comment. No comment ako dyan. God bless.
Okay, bye-bye.
God bless.